Welcome to our Innovation Hour on day 4 of Streaming Media West Connect. I'm Eric Schumacher Rasmussen. I'm the editor and VP of Streaming Media and conference chair for all of our streaming media events, both online and in person. We hope to see you again in person in May in Boston, May 24th and 25th at Streaming Media East. And we'll see you in the meantime at our next Connect event in February. Couple of housekeeping notes. If you have any questions for our presenters today, please put them in the Q&A at the bottom of your Zoom screen rather than in the chat. It's just easier for us to keep track of them there. Also, live transcripts are turned on. If you want to turn them off, you can go to the live transcript button at the bottom of your Zoom window, select that, and then click Disable Subtitles. Finally, just for being here, you're entered into a drawing to win an Amazon gift card. But the trick is you got to be present to win and present at the end. So we will announce the winner of that Amazon gift card when our 3 presenters have had a chance to share their information. I'd like to thank our diamond sponsors, Conviva, Limelight Networks, Signient, and Video Guys. And I'm going to pass things to our producer, Bill, for a quick video message from each of them.
VideoGuys.com is your source for PTZ cameras that fit productions of all sizes.
Add multiple camera angles to your production without adding operator. Perfect for houses of worship, corporate AV, education, and more. Video Guys offers cameras from PTZ Optics, Bird Dog, Panasonic, and NewTek. Control these cameras using an IR remote, control app, or hardware controller with serial or network connection.
Go to VideoGuys.com or call us at 800-323-2325 for help finding the camera that's right for you.
In this era of streaming video, we are pioneers, helping make your stories more vibrant. Conviva lives in billions of apps on devices all over the world, measuring trillions of data points each day to provide real-time insights for your content, ads, and social. Conviva. Every stream, every screen, every second.
And of course, I'd like to thank the sponsors of this session, Teradek, MainConcept, and Visionular. If you have questions for our speakers, as I said, please enter them in the Q&A. So let's jump right in. Tyler Riddle from Teradek and David Galligan from Galligan Media are going to spend the next 17 minutes or so talking about portable streaming solutions. So I'll pass it over to you guys.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Today, I wanted to talk about some of the innovations that Teradek has done in regarding to addressing some of the portable live streaming market. I also wanted to give you a little sneak peek at our new product, the Wave, which takes some of the best things about Teradek, Small HD, and Wooden Camera and smashes them into a consumer and prosumer focused product. And we'll also talk about how this product might be helpful to you or in a portable situation. With me, I have David Galligan of Galligan Media in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And thank you, David, for coming on. Really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so I really wanted to know, what do you do there in Dallas-Fort Worth? And in particular with portable live streaming?
Where we do live streaming in our production workflow, it's actually the majority of what we do. We serve the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we have just seen such a huge demand in just the live streaming portion of our workflow. And we do events of every size, every kind. We do weddings, we do conferences, we do special events, we do webinars. And it's really cool to see just really the evolution of tech within the last few years because of the need.
Mm. So in these events and all of the things that you do, what are some of the challenges that you and your customers face, particularly when streaming portably?
Well, the biggest challenge, just bar none, is network stability. Once you get all your equipment, you get your audio right, you get all your points right, and you got all your equipment laid out. The biggest challenge that we run into is having a stable signal, stable encoding delivered to your CDNs to where the viewers have a good experience. That's the number one issue that we've had in the past, is making sure that that network connection is stable.
So David was one of our beta testers for the Wave, and I actually want to show it to you here. This guy, this is the Wave, and particularly in portable use, it's actually a bonding cellular device, as well as, I'm gonna lift this up, it has a couple of batteries for hot swappable power, I have a couple of modems attached to this here, and basically it allows you to stream using bonded technology out in the field, as well as providing an endpoint that you can actually see what you're putting out before you go live. This is revolutionary for Teradek because we've had our small HD product, and we have had our Teradek product, which are little streaming boxes. Yet, as things progress, we said, hey, what if we combine these? What if we make a super high quality product that does bonding, that is at a great price point of about $1,200 and works outdoors, daylight visibility, hot swappable batteries, and just one less screen for portable use. So David got a chance to check this out, and he was able to review it, give us some great feedback and improvements that we have since implemented. David, I wanted to ask, how do you see a device like the Wave working in your particular workflow?
Well, it's such an answer to so many of the common problems. And we do a lot of retrofitting for churches, making sure that they can get on. And as soon as I pulled this out of the box, I just thought there are so many solutions that are going to be answered, that even either a small house of worship, small production company, that when they see this, I mean, I really appreciate you guys actually taking the time to see what the issues are, because a lot of times when people are trying to live stream, I'd probably say, like I said in the beginning, the network stability is the biggest issue. How do I keep my stream up? And when I heard that you guys have integrated, you integrated your bonding through ShareLink, I was like, oh, there you go, right there. And I'm fairly proficient in ShareLink. When I first got my video, I plugged it in, I hooked up my ShareLink, and the encoder where right on the server, you see your feed, you assign your destinations, and you hit go live. It was really simple. And so when I saw that, when we opened it up and I see the monitor, I'm like, okay, if Teradek is getting into this, then you got some good display. You guys got a small HD monitor. And so turned it on. The 1000 nit display was more than enough. I was able to plug in a hot swappable battery, went outside, looked great outside. And then setup was really easy. When we took it into one of our productions, we wanted to beta test it on one of our stream techs. Actually, it was a camera tech at the time, and we said, see if you can get this online. We just want to see if you can do it. And so we opened up ShareLink, and ShareLink's a pretty simple interface. And so they assigned the channel, they turned it on, they synced it up, and they were good to go. It was such a quick operation, really easy for us when we're able to take our camera ops and trust them with the device that usually we have to assign another person to. So it was really nice. It's a nice 1/4-20 mounts on there, mounts it right to a camera. You put a ball in, 1/4-20 mount on there. It was a really nice experience for us. And then the Wave app that we had, we're able to read the network readings and see all the different connected devices. And we did have a cool couple instances where we were out in the field. There's no internet connection when you're out and about, but you're able to plug in the 2 batteries. We plugged in 2 of the small of those batteries that you had on there. I think the ones you had were the 4,400 milliamp, but we had like I want to say the 26 or 2,700 milliamp, and the battery lasted well beyond the length of the production. And it was such a lightweight piece of gear that does so much. So we did that. We were able to hook up several of our cell phones in the access point mode in the device, and we hooked up like 3 or 4 cell phones, took the data from our phones, live streamed it to 3 CDNs, 3 platforms. It really did. It really did. It was fun to use. It was fun to have a piece of gear like that did so much. And we did love the display, because the display was one thing, even with the audio readings, is one thing that we had issue with in the past, is that are our viewers actually getting the audio levels that they really need? And so with the audio levels right there, we were able to, we had one time where we were trying to tell our audio guy, hey, we're like -12. We need to be like -3 dB. And we couldn't get a hold of him. We were texting him. He was off comms. So we had right there, you saw the fader that you had your finger on. We just touched and we brought up our levels to the -3, and it was hot, sounded great, and it was able to be controlled right there. That's just the right people designing the gear. Appreciate that. I don't know who's in charge of that. It was a good idea. But it was a really great experience.
That's my favorite feature. That's before I got into this position. That's the one I requested from the GM. So I was really thrilled when I came online and they had put that in, and I was like, hey, I got my say before I was even in this position. So yeah, I use this at my church as well. And what I find is that people are looking to reach and touch, and especially in the era of iPads and iPhones and Androids and all of that, people just need to visibly see it and touch it and interact. And so that's kind of what we were looking for. Now, I wanted to do a quick little demo of this thing just so people can see. Maybe this might be if you're selling gear or something like that, this might be great for a client, or if you're church or a school or something like that, this is a great end of the line switcher encoder as well. So basically, I'm going to loosen these. You've got, we can see the video here. We have these things called events. So in this case, I've got Facebook, I've got YouTube, and I've got my ShareLink application. So in this, I can actually create another event. I'll just go halfway through it here so you can kind of see. I can pick a channel, let's say Facebook, and create a new live stream now. I'm just gonna type some stuff and type some stuff here, and we'll make this friends because I don't want anybody else to see it except my coworker. And I am off to the races already. There's 1080p, 5 megabits, 30 frames a second, 128 kilobits, and great. And then I just click stream, and 1, 2, 3, doing the stuff Facebook. There, it's live. Okay, so I just streamed my Facebook page. It was that easy and to just touch. Now, one of the great things about being portable is our ShareLink solution. So I've set this up to our ShareLink account here, and I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like. I've got this encoder coming up here, and I've got all these different Facebook and YouTube, and I can add other RTMP destinations at this level. We do have a higher end product that called Core that can actually stream to utilizing some of our other encoders, a lot of point-to-point stuff. But in this case, it's just RTMP distribution type workflows. So I have this up. I've got a couple of these node modems that we make attached. So here's one, and then I've got this this Ethernet here. However, you know what? I'm going to unplug this power, and guess what? We're portable. In fact, so I'm on battery, and if I want to unplug this battery, and this will be awkward, I'm sure, but hey, we're still live, and we just hot swapped. Let's put it back, and our power back to 100% on that one, and let's hot swap this one. Great. Okay, so I've got redundancy in my power here, which is fantastic when you're out and about. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this stream button, and it takes a second to trigger everything. Let me go over. So on my ShareLink site, which I've already attached these channels, they are all going live. Fantastic. Just like that, I am streaming out. If we look at the statistics here, I've got a wired USB modem 1 and USB modem 2. And funny enough, I'm actually splitting pretty evenly across there. But let's say I lose a carrier. So I'm gonna simulate that, and I'm gonna just unplug this modem up here. Uh-oh, my Verizon went out, or it's too congested. So what happens is the bit rate is then shifted over to wired and USB modem. Fantastic. Let me get back to this, and you can see that nothing has dropped. And I can even look at the stream quality here. Let's say I want to pull one more. I'm going to just stream over cellular. So I'm going to pull the Ethernet out here, and suddenly I am completely portable. So anyways, that's kind of what makes the wave so great. Not only the encoder portion, and I'm going to go ahead and confirm and stop this. So not only the encoder portion, but the being able to see how you can have dynamic networks, and it changes and shifts, and the network stability on it is so high. You can shift the bit rate to another network and shift the bit rate to another network if you have problems. I did want to, there was a couple of questions here, and I think this is the end of my time. So what is the main difference between the encoding and bonding between us and maybe another person that might, or another company that might do bonding. And we have our own secret way of doing it. And I believe our stuff is a little more accessible, especially at the low end. This thing's only $1,200 and you get a full bonding experience. The pricing on ShareLink is inexpensive and it's reachable for your consumer and prosumer market. So thank you so much. I think my time is up here. I'll pass
Tyler,
it off to you, Eric.
If you want to answer another question or two, I think we have time for that. Thank you for being.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Okay, so let's see, use case in sports. So one of the things that you could do in sports, because this thing is portable, like taking it to a soccer field. Our VP of technology actually has a son that does soccer stuff. And so he takes our encoders and brings it over. He's got the 2 batteries, pops it onto his camera, and then he's off to the races. He's got bonding. There is no internet connection except cellular there. And sometimes it's weak, depending on the field that he's at. So he brings a Verizon, an AT&T, and a T-Mobile, just to make sure that he is covered across all of his things. Another person asked, can you save the event settings for later, like to plan ahead? And absolutely. And that is the beauty of Flow OS, which is our OS that we have here. It is something where you could enter in this Facebook stream for your soccer game, this Facebook stream for your, say, a church service, this Facebook stream for a wedding. And so it becomes super easy to plan ahead and really prep all of this stuff so that when you arrive somewhere, it's already done, you're ready to go, you turn it on, it kicks up to ShareLink, and then that's that.
All right, actually, and now I do have to give you the hook.
Sure.
But if you've got a couple minutes to stick around and type your answers to the questions in the Q&A, you can do that. Otherwise, we can save the questions and send them to you offline. So Tyler and David, thanks so much for a look at one of Teradek's latest products.
Thank you. And if you have any questions, pop them on the QA. I will be responding in text. Thanks.
Excellent. All right. Moving on to our next speaker, Deacon Johnson from MainConcept. Deacon, welcome. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, Eric. I appreciate it very much. Just want to do a quick check on audio and video. Is everything going as planned?
Everything is going as planned. So take it away, share your screen, and I'll confirm that it's working.
I appreciate that very much. So you should be seeing everything that I got.
Looks good.
Oh, that is fantastic. So, okay. So thank you everybody who's out there. So for those who don't know me, my name is Deacon Johnson. I have been looking after technology licensing strategy with MainConcept since about 2016. My love affair with the digitization of video and audio dates back to the 90s, though, mid 90s, if not early 90s. I'm here today to talk to you about the Pro Codec, or the Codec Marathon. And as my marketing team's probably seeing, I have a proclivity for changing things. So I'm going to tell you in a tale of 3 codecs. But before I get there, I want to tell you another tale. It's one that we're all familiar with. It's called The Tortoise and the Hare. I hope, anyway. I'll use Aesop's version because this one's G-rated. And I hope that by sharing this, it'll give you an idea how MainConcept looks at codec life cycles as they occur over time. Okay, without further ado, let me go ahead and start. So back to the tale of the tortoise and the hare. So you may know it, you may not, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway, my version. Starts out with a hare, which is a rabbit, and a tortoise, a turtle. And the rabbit and the turtle are locked in a bitter discussion, arguing about who's the best. They decide to have a race. So, of course, they go to the fox and they say to the fox, hey, can you take a look at this race and make sure you judge it for us? We want to make sure that we have somebody telling us who's the best and who's going to be the fastest to win this race. So of course he agrees. In this version, he doesn't eat the rabbit and he doesn't light the forest on fire. So for those of you who have those tales, that's not that one. That's another time. You can reach out to me directly and I'll tell you that story later. In this case, he's just the judge. So with a wave of his hand, off to the races they go. Of course, like a flash of lightning, as you'd expect, the rabbit takes off and it's out of sight as the turtle barely starts his journey 1 foot at a time, slowly and steadfastly across the starting line. So going forward, many hours go by and the hare is running as fast as he can. He's tired, he's sweaty, and he sees the end finish line in sight. And so he looks back, he doesn't see the tortoise anywhere, and his priorities change. He says, hey, I'm tired, I'm sweaty, I'm working hard. And he notices a nice soft piece of grass to the side of the path. And he says, I'm going to lay down and have a rest. That guy's never going to catch up with me. So I got plenty of time. So we all know what happens. Much time passes. I mean, a lot of time passes. But that steadfast tortoise catches up and he sees him sitting on the sidelines in his patch of grass. And he keeps going 1 step at a time through the finish line for the win. So the moral of that story, again, as we probably already know, is slow and steady wins the race. And with that, I want to introduce MainConcept. We have been in the professional video space for nearly 30 years. We've grown up with most of the innovative brands that existed at the infancy of digital video and before. We've built a relationship built on trust with a lot of these innovative brands over the years by focusing on that slow and steady race throughout these shifts from one codec to the next. We offer the highest quality. That is our mantra: highest quality, best performing, and reliability. You got to have it. Just as they spoke before, you've got to have reliability built into your professional codecs, your video systems. It is very, very important. We do this for SDKs. We do this for applications. We do this also in custom development as well, as we get a lot of requests for that kind of je ne sais quoi, this little something that you need to differentiate either beyond or within the specification. So really, over 30 years, we focused on quality, performance, and reliability. All right, so more about where we fit. Well, our roots are production, and we package for broadcast, and we package for streaming, because you've got to do this. If you have the best quality something wrapped in the wrong package, it's not reliable. So we focus on those pieces of that. I'll talk about that later. But we, over the years, have also built out tertiary markets. And while there's gaming and digital signing and e-learning has been a big boom because of COVID, and many other things that have happened in the market in recent years, two that I really want to highlight are surveillance and medical. The reason that I highlight them is because when we look at quality and reliability, not only does that matter when you're creating this cinematic masterpiece or professionally prepared content, but it really matters when you're doing mission critical. If you're looking at a surveillance camera footage, either live or otherwise at a distance, most of the time the conditions are not ideal. You need to have quality. You need to have that deep color support that is only available in these production quality codecs. It's the same with medical as well. Very closely aligned with this core quality mantra that we have. When you're diagnosing something, when you're using an endoscope, when you're working with archived video or images so that experts can diagnose something where a life depends on it, absolutely need to have that guarantee of quality, that reliability. And that is something that we've been working on for a very long time. Part of the reason why I wanted to highlight the tortoise in this race of the tortoise and the hare as codecs evolve. So what's in a package? When you also break this down and you look at quality and reliability, you have to have things available in form factors that keep you at parity with the market. Our bread and butter is SDKs. If you want the best quality, the best customization, we'll say the optimization and customization for your needs, developers work with libraries. We do a great job. In fact, we have the broadest support of professional codecs that I'm aware of on the planet. that all can be called up through a similar API. So this makes adding and managing variety of codecs over the long term very simple once you've deployed our technology. Of course, we expand that into the codecs that you see, but many, many more, also production formats, and of course, high fidelity audio, which is basically one and the same of creating something that people are watching that's professionally prepared. Dolby, very important. Fraunhofer, very important. We did a webinar ourselves a while back, actually very recently, about partnering with Fraunhofer on the next generation HEVC as well. So these are very important things that add that high fidelity audio to your professional masterpiece that you're creating. And that's what we do in the SDKs. Of course, we have scaling, we have conversion, we have streaming components, and more. Literally, when you've been in the business 30 years and more could fill 50 different pages of stuff. But suffice it to say, we've likely done this over the years. If you had something that you needed in that space, we probably have it. Again, there's plugins as well, decoder packs for direct show, plugins for Adobe Premiere. Recently, we extended our core products for MXF packaged and production formats into DaVinci Resolve. Very important for us because extending that high quality reliability into additional production workflows that are used by professionals is very important. Again, we also near the same time added that same quality and packaging into an FFmpeg plugin as well, because we recognize that open source is an excellent framework for being able to rapidly add services and formats to solutions. And of course, adding that high quality and that reliability or reliable packaging to these is also something that's very important. So we do that. In the applications, we work with live, we deploy live in the cloud. We have application that does this. Of course, we have cloud-based modules for being able to work with Kubernetes, Docker, and of course, cloud deployments of our live encoder applications, and of course, file-based transcoding as well, which is pretty important for finishing work. Across the operating systems, we have to support them all, the main ones, Windows, Apple, Linux, frameworks as well, open source, GStreamer, FFmpeg, as I mentioned, WebAssembly, which is very important for adding support for playing back HEVC in browsers and others. And something that, of course, is very important when you're dealing with any type of video is, of course, the silicon that's powering it. We have a long-standing relationship with Intel for x86. We've been working for a long time. We've also done work with mobile variants of ARM, but most recently with Apple's M1 silicon, there's been a resurgence in ARM. We've got in early. We're honored to have these partnerships. We've worked with those to optimize our technologies to get very impressive performance and quality on these low-cost, low-powered devices. So if ARM is in your future roadmap, we've got an excellent solution for it. Check it out. Give us a call. Let us know. Okay, so back to the Tortoise and Hare story. We went out and asked, or rather our marketing went out and asked our community on LinkedIn, how many years do you think a production codec lives? Thank you for those who responded. I'm very glad to have you respond, so we're honored by it. And this is what we got. So it turns out that a lot of people think that codecs are around for a very long time. But a lot of others also think that things are moving a little faster than maybe they are. So that was good for us to learn that. So as we look at how we see the life cycle of pro codecs, it very much is that tortoise style race. Very long generational life cycles. 25 years actually is the minimum. We have codecs like Motion JPEG and DVC Pro and MPEG 2 that are still widely used in the market. These are very, very long life cycles. The core for MainConcept and what we do as a company is get in early. Establish that very diligent, methodical familiarity with applying bitrate precision to our encoders, reliability in our packaging very, very early on. by the time these codecs have hit mainstream, there is no question that MainConcept's team has achieved mastery. That can only be done if you're running the Tortoise race. So let's take a look at one of them. I promised a tale of 3 codecs, so I will go over the first of 3, HEVC, as it relates to pro codecs. Very standard or very predictable model for what we've seen. Standards come in, the standards evolve, we start to pick up, because again, our investment happens early on, those first production workflows and those early adopters that need to have that very high bit color or that very deep color and very high bit rate video. We'll see those come in, and shortly after that, the production formats, the packaging formats for delivery and broadcast and OTT, more production formats, which then set the stage for mainstream maturity, for explosive growth. We've seen that with HEVC. We test that throughout the years to make sure that we actually have the benchmark data to show where our bitrate precision and our encoding efficiency is working. So it's very important for us to reach out to the community and make sure we're testing. But again, a very predictable, long-standing marathon when it comes to codecs. And again, as we go to current day, we're starting to see late stage maturity, of course, for HEVC. So no surprise what's coming next. The same very predictable path for HEVC for 4K. Standards are approved, extensions and maturity come out, first production workflows pick it up some years later. This is, obviously 6, 7, 8 years later. Broadcast packaging, we're missing DVB in there, but it's right before Apple HLS, so I'll update that later. But again, followed by camera formats leading us to near present day, where we have more camera formats, big camera formats coming out using HEVC as their format of choice, which sets the stage for HEVC becoming that mainstream codec over time for 4K. So again, very predictable, very standards-based, and something that is essential to MainConcept from day one as we grow with these codecs. Whoops, looks like I jumped back. So okay. And last but not least, the third codec, which is VVC. So VVC or versatile video coding, or VVANC, has a lot of different words to it, is something that has just hit the market. It's got a lot of buzz over recent months. The standard is out. We're in early, again, achieving that mastery, taking that slow and steady to understand the technology. We're seeing very impressive efficiency in this codec. It is absolutely designed for 8K. So it's where we're spending our time in its infancy. Again, very long life cycles, very predictable things need to occur as this moves into the mainstream. Okay, so where are we focusing? Well, as a company, we start with the core. And when we talk about core codecs, we start with production core codecs. HEVC, mainstream, late maturity. HEVC, fast becoming mainstream, driven by formats and broadcast standards. So this is a very good thing for HEVC in the coming decades. VVC, starting out with the early form of standards, again, that will mature over time. This is where we spend a great deal of our development expertise to achieve mastery, to apply our bitrate precise encoding, to make sure that you're getting the most efficient, highest quality encoder that you can in software. We carry that in through packaging to make sure that we're packaging by use case so that you're compliant with DVB, DVB-T2, ATSC, ATSC 3.0, and many others, and then into the future, so that you have a reliable support to open that high quality package to get the contents inside. And of course, that extends into MXF as well. Again, continuing on to optimization. ARM is a great example of that I talked about before, working with these ARM core silicon products that recently entered the market to make sure that they are optimized for production quality codecs. Very, very impressive performance on these devices. So it's an area that we've spent a lot of time in the last couple of years. GPU have to be able to leverage your capital investment to offer true 4K, 8K encoding on reasonable cost hardware to get the most out of that capital expenditure by working with GPU, by getting involved in that to use the best parts of the GPU for efficiency while reserving the gotta have it quality in the software encoder. So we've been doing that for a long time. Expect that over time as we move into these codecs, HEVC, VVC, cloud, huge, been a theme for many different topics at Streaming Media West. It's been a theme for a while, but recent events in our world have definitely pushed that into the forefront. Companies are adopting cloud. They're moving into a space where they need to be able to offer off-prem and on-prem. So this is an area where we're continuing to optimize and of course embracing open source. The last, and then I will I'll give myself the hook, is on services. Without our support team, listening to our customers and enhancing our products, really that's where the magic happens, to really understand the needs of the market and be able to build that into our products, but also to work on those custom features. We've got customers that need STANAG support, they need alpha channel support, or they want to stream in a new variant or others. We've been in the industry a long time. That's where we focus. We have to listen. We made a business of listening to our customers and helping them to differentiate within those standards. And again, last but not least, Eric, legacy. When it comes to MPEG-2 and DVC Pro and all these codecs, I literally want to do another one of these at some day to say, does the codec ever die? Because as far as I can tell in the digital world, once we think they're down and out, they come right back. So it is another discussion in its own right. But it is something that, again, it's the tortoise race. It's staying true all the way through the end so that our customers can rely on us. And that's all I got. I want to thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I will answer them afterwards if I have time. Eric, or are you going to give me the hook?
You're good. No, we don't have time for questions, but if people want to put questions in the Q&A, Deacon, if you can stick around, you can just type your answers there. Really good presentation, both from a macro and a micro level. It gives a good sense of, as you said, the history and evolution and staying power of codecs and what it takes to make those codecs work and live in the market. So thank you so much, Deacon. Speaking of codecs, our next presenter is Zoe Liu from Visionular. And Zoe is going to be talking about one particular codec, and in particular, a encoding solution for the AV1 codec, which is a codec that is a little further to the right on one of those graphs that Deacon just showed, but it's on the rise right now. So Zoe, I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Eric. Let me share the screen. I need you to present. Oh, hi, everyone. This is Zoe. I'm from Visionular. Visionular is a company that was founded in July of 2018, actually 1 month after the AV1 standard was finalized in June of 2018. And we mainly provide video, also encoder software solutions in the format of on-premise solution, basically deployed over customers' servers and devices. And also we provide cloud APIs to mainly serve enterprise customers. And we actually try to serve all kinds of scenarios such as VOD, live, including low latency live and real-time communications. And we are a team exactly right now, 50 team members here in the US, also in Beijing and Hangzhou. And we recently just got a new office in London. And we have paid customers just exceeding 50. So we have sealed more than 50 contracts with our customers and providing our solution to serve that need. The fundamental goal for us is basically just to provide the best video quality as possible. And here today, I show we basically focus on AV1, like Eric just mentioned, and specifically we want to show what AV1 can really do, what not only the standard potential, but also focus on what really can be done by this already. And so this slide is basically just an overview about AV1. And here we can see that is AV1 was mainly rolled out by the standard organization referred to as Alliance for Open Media. And it's actually focused on the royalty-free and video codec standard. But it's not only that, it's also represented for some of the most advanced video compression technology in the field. So far, Alliance for Open Media already snapped close to 50 members. And next is we basically talk a little bit about what's the potential of AV1. And we provide the encoding solutions for AV1. And everyone talk about how much we can leverage the use of AI into the video compression field. We had a paper published in the leading journal of proceeding IEEE early this year. And in this paper, we not only address just about the use of AI in video codec in general, we specifically take AV1 as a user case and discussing what potential leveraging the use of machine learning and AI in general to further optimize AV1 encoders so that become AV1 more coding efficient and also improve the performance jointly, considering coding efficiency, encoding speed, and the overall performance. So we are going to talk about something a little more details in this slide. Compared to its predecessor VP9, AV1 as a standard has included more than 100 new coding tools. We want to emphasize, for example, AV1 is the first standard that has included the screen content coding in its main body. And also AV1 for the first time included the use of film grain to specifically serve the premium content in a lot of usages. So AV1 is not only royalty-free, it's really a video codec standard representing many advanced codec technologies. But like many other standards, like what just has been addressed in the previous talk, that when the new standards comes out, there's a lot of new coding tools that can be optimized on the encoder side, and encoder usually go complicated, it could be slow and consuming a lot of computational resources underneath. And for today, we specifically want to demonstrate one aspect of what AV1 can do, especially for the low delay live and real-time communications. And especially on the server side, one is powered, for example, with AMD EPIC, many multi-cores, what really we can deliver. That's what we want to show. And for the concerning the overall workflow, so when we look at an encoder, right now the concept encoder is different from previously, because the ultimate goal we want to get encoder is really bring the best video experiences to our end users, meaning that we need to minimize the consuming bandwidth or bitrate and then really boost up the visual quality, because it's eventually it's a human eye that justifies the visual quality, and at the same time to make the speed up the encoder. So make the computational complexity to further reduce. So with the overall this in mind, we actually thinking AV1 can do a lot. Before that, we want to give a summary of what's the current ecosystem for AV1. As a more than 3-year-old standard, there's already a lot of hardware decoder support for this new standard, because usually the hardware decoding support for new standard is really indicates what is the state of the art for the ecosystem. So here we point out that this is what we collected from the open public available info, that a lot of, for example, the TV side and mobiles and set-top box, that AV1 hardware decoder has been widely deployed, and the ecosystem has been really expanded, especially this year under the pandemic. We see AV1 is really taking off. When some scenarios, hardware decoder is not available, there's quite some software decoder open source available. In particular, we want to emphasize David, that has been mainly developed by Radio LAN, as well as FMPEG community, and also funded by AOM, that it has shown great potential. For example, on the mobile phones, and especially on the low-end phones, the decoding of 720p30 using David in software are pretty stable and very low complexity. Very low complexity wise. So many scenarios using software decoder can already serve the final purposes. And on the encoder side, here's a summary of what we can do, because we have our own encoder, Aurora 1 AV1. Indeed, we appreciate a lot of open source AV1 encoder that actually we contribute also to the open source. This is an open source community. We have basically currently there's 3 open source AV1 encoder, LibAVM, SVT AV1, and Ravi. And we always say that we stand on the shoulders of the giants and then climb further up, that we have already really pay attention to what's going on in the open source community. And further, we want to bring AV1 potentially to every single scenario, like I stated at the beginning, to serving VOD, live streaming, and with the broadcasting quality, and sometimes with zero latency, very low latency for live, together with real-time communications where the encoder are deployed over end devices. In this talk, we want to show some low latency possibility first. So here is, this is a 1080p video, is mainly screen content. And this is has been encoded by X264 medium, 800 kilobits per second. And if we use Aurora 1, our AV1 encoder, and here's 800, and this is a 400 kilobits per second. You can see that the quality has been largely boosted with use only half of the bit rate consumed by X264. So there's a quite potential. And also we'll address that is all this video has been encoded in real time. So we can already claim that AV1 come to a stage where low latency, extremely latency, low latency is quite possible. What can we do more? So we want to show that is on top of AMD EPIC. For example, on here, this is the prior generation, it's usually referred as ROM, and we can really deliver using one CPU of 64 cores. We can deliver real-time 4K 60 live concurrent streaming. And we show that here because these servers have 2 CPUs. So we basically show that we will leverage really one CPU of 60 cores. We can do 4K 60 concurrently. And with more recently, we show that for EPIC 7763, usually referred as Milan, actually we can further boost up the encoding speed. So here we compared against SVT AV1, the open source, with our Aurora 1 AV1 encoder. We see here is, if you look at the bottom the two tables. We want to show that is with the new EPIC machines compared to its previous generation, either SVT81 or our own Aurora AV1 encoder can further speed up by at least 15%. So definitely with more powerful servers rolling out, AV1 can do a lot better. And here we also present what could be the encoding speed when encoding 4K 60. So if just one 4K 60p being encoded on top of the most recent, the Milan, actually we can really, here there's a two sequence. So in general, we can encode at the speed of more than 100 frames per second. So definitely it handles the 4K 60 in real time. When we run 4K, the average speed, especially on the Milan servers, it surpasses 60 frames per second encoding speed, meaning that it can real-time concurrent stream out 4K live. And furthermore, we think we can do a little bit more. This is just another comparison, comparing Aurora 1 against SVT81. We always say that we we learned a lot from the open source and further optimize Aurora 1 from a different perspective. First, as we mentioned, we really look at different content. For example, we differentiate between whether it's a screen content or non-screen content. We leverage the adaptive rate control and using scene detection and scene categorization, and further use some of AI. Now, AI not always means deep learning, but actually is, for example, analysis between region of interest and in some homogeneous area, if especially when encoded for the high bit rate, it's better to lower the QP than increase the QP. So with all these technologies, we'll further boost up the performance of really keep the AV1 coding efficiency advantages while really speeding it up. So here we show that we can be a lot faster while using a lot less memory and CPU resources. And here, this is basically for the title that use, if we run on the EPIC 7763, the 64 core, there's two CPUs, so altogether there's 128 cores, 250 threads. Indeed, we can already do 8 4K P60 live. And we show in this slide now that first the encoder, of course, has to be optimized, has to be multi-threading and really leverage the underlying multi-core resources. On top of it, when we handle like 8 4K concurrent bit streams, the managing of the underlying CPU resources also need to further optimize. There's a lot more for us to do because we don't have our hands to work on really this many cores that much. So we keep optimizing our Aurora 1 AV1 encoder. But here we show that on the top right, that table, if we run 8 4K and each 4K can be really encoded at the speed more than 60 frames per second, meaning that all these 8 4K can be concurrently live streaming out. And underneath, we just show that using different strategies, especially when we really manage well the underlying multi-cores, there's a lot of potential we can further boost up the encoding speed with multiple concurrent bitstream over a multi-core machines. So we are going to quickly go through a few slides to show the potential. This is for Aurora 1 compared further against SVT81, the most recent stabilized version. And this is against the X265. It shows that at similar speed, and AV1 can really achieve more than 35% PD rate gain. And under all type of objective quality metrics, the PSR, SIM, and VMAF, here again, we show that the screen content, there's a great potential that AV1 is still slow. than x64, but on the PC using only one thread, it can encode more than 45 frames per second for 1080p screen content videos, while only consumes less than 20% of the bitrate consumed by the corresponding x64 encoders. And here we also show that this is on the mobile phones, is a Snapdragon 845 that compared against x64 medium and Aurora AV1 can really deliver the same speed, but with more than 20% bitrate savings. And this is all using one thread. And we also show that is because AV1 is a very natural successor after VP8 and VP9. Indeed, the VP9 version is a zero version of AV1. So inside Warp RTC and low delay real-time communications, AV1 has a lot of naturally characteristics to serve this low delay and real-time communications. And this is my last slide. We want to say that before the really wide deployment of the hardware decoder to support this new standard, we still have to work with the software decoding. And we have developed a strategy to optimize our encoder with the decoder complexity in mind. So we tell it's a decoder complexity aware because you can really optimize some tools. Like here we said this is rapid motion mode, frame level partition, and those tools maybe you turn them off or optimize it, and it will drop the code efficiency a little bit, but will largely potentially reduce the decoding side complexity, especially when the decoder has to rely on the software implementation. And that's close my talk. So basically, we show that there's a great potential. We can leverage AV1 on the multiple core machines, really do low delay, live concurrent, high definition, and high resolution, high bitrate, high quality live streaming, serving that scenarios.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Zoe.
Thank
and
you.
I see your email is up there on the screen. If people want to
Yes.
get in touch with you directly. And Mark put the link to av1info.com in the chat so people can get more information as they want. Thanks to all of our sponsors today, Visionular, MainConcept, and Teradek. And thanks, of course, to our diamond sponsors as well. We'll be running that video message from them in just a moment. The winner of the Amazon gift card is Mason Macklem. So Mason, watch your email for your notification. Should be out next week. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, kicking off the last day of Streaming Media West Connect with a look at how the hybrid office will affect enterprise streaming. Hope to see you then.
Videoguys.com is your source for PTZ cameras that fit productions of all sizes.
Add multiple camera angles to your production without adding operator. Perfect for houses of worship, corporate AV, education, and more. Video Guys offers cameras from PTZ Optics, Bird Dog, Panasonic, and NewTek. Control these cameras using an IR remote, control app, or hardware controller with serial or network connection.
Go to videoguys.com or call us at 800-323-2325 for help finding the camera that's right for you.
In this era of streaming video, we are pioneers, helping make your stories more vibrant. Conviva lives in billions of apps on devices all over the world, measuring trillions of data points each day to provide real-time insights for your content, ads, and social. Conviva. Every stream, every screen, every second.